Welcome in to this Tuesday, April 30th for Wednesday, May 1st episode of Betting the Pitch Major League Baseball edition. I'm your host, Real_G Warner, joined by my co-host at A Brooks Bets. Are you ready for May to begin?
Yeah, you know what Justin Timberlake's favorite day, why today is his favorite day?
Because it's got
Because
to be May.
tomorrow it's gonna be May.
Ha 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 ha
Yeah.
ha ha. All right.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
good one.
if you weren't
Hey,
coming for
we've
our
got a whole
best,
month of baseball in the books, and May 1st is here. We're ready to roll. This is when teams kind of start separating themselves, I feel like, both good and bad.
if you weren't here for baseball bets, ultimate best bets from each of us coming end of show, then at least you get Justin Timberlake jokes at the top. So we will have best bets coming end of show. We're gonna go through each game of the Wednesday, May 1st card. Some day games, some night games, some games. Hopefully that my team won't lead 5-0 in the ninth and lose in extra innings. And just I'm glad A Brooks Betts was with me living through just really horrible back-to-back moments. I think I had a 5-0 and a 3-0 lead blown in a matter of minutes tonight. But there's always tomorrow, or we're just gonna die jumping off my balcony into the pool 5 stories below. We'll get through this card coming soon. If you're not following us on Instagram, at the Real_G Warner or YouTube. Good way to subscribe. Plus, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. It's the best way to subscribe on there and make sure you're not missing any episodes. Coming off our last episode, my best bet won, but the Mets ended up facing a different starting pitcher. So unfortunately, that I'm not sure I can count that. A Brooks Betts did lose the Phillies, so he's now 3-2 on the season. I'm 2-2, so a half game back. But we are over 500 for the season, and we look to continue that momentum moving forward. We'll start in San Diego with Cincinnati, Graham Ashcraft visiting San Diego Padres, and Joe Musgrove. I think he's got a bobblehead coming out for this game on Wednesday. Currently, Musgrove minus 124 favorite. Total is 8, juice all the way to over. What do you think about this one? Padres are a loser of 5 straight until this game they're currently playing right now with the Reds.
Yeah, maybe the bobblehead changes the fortunes for Joe Musgrove. That's kind of like a little better's nugget. I probably should have been listening to Orsillo earlier tonight to read into that. No, but Musgrove's been pretty bad. I dove pretty deep into these pitching statistics so far over the first month of the season, over the last day or two. He's been pretty bad and hasn't had great expected outcomes either. Graham Ashcraft is a ground ball pitcher, so he's going to try to keep the ball on the ground. He's pretty good at limiting opposing teams' walks. Griffin's happy about something.
Oh, Guardians 3-0. Now 8-8. Here we go, baby. We're on the
Oh, the roller coaster
train.
continues.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Oh my God. I'm just
For
gonna.
those at home, we're watching the Astros live, and they took an 8-3 lead. He actually has the other team. Where are they? The Guardians. The
Yes.
Guardians just came back from 8-3 and tied the game. So
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract
the
you.
pool
Joe
is safe for
Musgrove
now. The pool is
throwing
safe.
just Joe Musgrove throwing a lot of sliders. Yeah.
Yeah, Musgrove's been bad, and I think that Ashcraft has the right kind of pitch mix in order to keep the ball on the ground. At plus money, I will take the red legs.
Yeah, I'm looking to be against San Diego as much as I can. I think they have bullpen problems. I think they are a sheep in wolves' clothing at this point. Really, they've given up. I think the Soto trade got them some prospects. I actually thought that Soto had signed the Yankees. Somehow I missed that stat. So I don't know what the Yankees were doing. Hopefully they can woo Juan Soto over. But if they don't keep him, LOL on what they traded away. I like Cincinnati here as well. I want to be against San Diego until the market figures it out. Moving next to Colorado at Miami. Just kidding. I don't want to talk about this series at all. And we have no starting pitchers. Sounds like a bullpen game. Colorado with a 5-0 lead got their starter in the ninth, and that was surrendered pretty quickly. Their closer came in, at least hit one guy. Not sure he got an out. Maybe he did on a sac fly. Just a lot of horrible in that matchup, and there's no starters, so we'll move to the next game. That's the Chicago Cubs visiting the New York Mets. We got Shohei Imanaga, just kidding. I don't think it's Shohei, but I don't know his first name, against Jose Buto, I believe. And we got the Cubs, actually a favorite here on the road in Citi Field. Cubs minus 118, total is 7, juiced all the way over. We might see 7.5 before the first pitch.
So the Cubs are favored because Imanaga has had the best fastball in the big leagues, according to Baseball Savant and Statcast and all that thing. The 100th percentile of fastball
Oh
effectiveness.
yeah. Shota
Um,
Imanaga, by the way. Shota.
yep. A 96% chase rate and a 95%, sorry, not chase rate, a 96th percentile in chase rate and a 95th percentile in walk rate. So the guy gets people to swing and miss and he doesn't walk anybody and he's got a really good fastball. I'm looking to back that. I know that the Mets have had success against lefties so far this year. And, it's been a month now. They're a top 5 team, I think, in expected WOBA on against lefties. But I'm still going to go Imanaga here. I like the fastball. I like the way he's made the transition over to America, and I'm betting the Cubs.
Yeah. At A Brooks Bets, always a big fan of people transitioning. I think I'm going to go with the Mets here, plus 108. And to me, I mean, amazing total Mets style getting taking a no hitter pretty deep into the game. I think into the 8th inning last night, yet somehow still losing the game was wild. But I have big questions about the Chicago Cubs bullpen. We've seen them strip the closer role from Adbert Alzolay. But it seems like Mark Leiter's their best reliever. I feel like he should have that job, but he's kind of the Swiss Army knife that's showing up in various innings. Hector Neris, that is a merry-go-round carousel roller coaster I don't want to be a part of. I've already been a part of it a couple times this season. I think he closed out a game in Seattle that made me want to vomit. Just a lot of baseball making me want to vomit so far this year. But I think Buto's been surprisingly good. I'm not sure he was expected to take a rotation spot. And that Mets bullpen, even with losing Rayleigh to the IL, they're still really dominant. I like them as a home underdog in this matchup on Wednesday. Moving to the last game of the night, and we have the Dodgers and Yamamoto with another first name I don't know against Arizona bullpen game. We do have a line here. The Dodgers only a minus 124 favorite away from home. Total here is 8.5. Yoshinobu, I believe, or just something like that, after a
Yep.
pretty bad start in Korea, has been pretty good, and he pitches for probably the best team in baseball.
Yeah. So I've in my long shot parlay that has a chance to win, except for the Diamondbacks. I have beating the Dodgers in that division, which I don't think will happen. I
Never know.
saw that the whole series has been priced pretty evenly. So I've been backing the Dodgers every night, and I don't think, and haven't lost yet, and I think I'm going to continue doing that here. I mean, like you said, it's not a 150 or better, which you almost always see for the Dodgers. So I like the price here. I'm going to take the Dodgers on the road. Yamamoto on the hill. I mean, like you said, he had a rough first start, but he's also rounding into form here in America. I think he's a great pitcher, 25 years old. He's got electric stuff. You give me the Dodgers for sure.
Hopefully his translator doesn't gamble. I think Arizona, to me, they're getting a ton of respect for a dominant series in the playoffs last year, which maybe they deserve, but I think the Dodgers have. If they're going to overlook any series, it's not going to be Arizona, who knocked them out. I think swept them last year in the playoffs as well. Feels like a really short price in the Dodgers. I lean that way as well, though I got to say, road favorites are really not my jam. Moving to the AL now, we got Minnesota visiting the Chicago White Sox. Bailey Ober, Chris Flexen. Currently, Ober minus 190 favorite away from home. Over under is 8.5. Juice all the way to over. We might see a 9 for this 2:10 Eastern time. First pitch is thrown. Any interest in one of the hottest teams in baseball, Chicago White Sox?
I'm interested in the over here. The wind is blowing out on the south side. I've done some research on the weather again. There's 3 games that might be affected by the weather. Chicago is
Look at
expected to
you.
blow out to center
Look at
field
you.
15 to 20 miles an hour
Look
all
at
day.
you. Look at
Yeah, look at
you.
that.
Wow.
So Ober is one of my guys that I was kind of high on to begin the season. He has performed okay. He's a beast of a guy. He's like 6'9", 260, I think. And he likes to use that angle and keep the ball on the ground. But I think that, the White Sox are maybe showing just enough life. And I know that game is over right now as we speak already. So over the total, I believe. And I'm gonna ride with the over at the windy south side.
Well, I'll actually build this for your overlean even more. Bailey Over's actually a huge fly ball pitcher, as far as I
Ooh.
understand. Maybe he's changed that a little bit this year. And it's a little bit different in the South Side. They do give totals or put totals out. They always wait at Wrigley Field. But they never wait at US Cellular, Comiskey, whatever we're calling this thing now, in the south side of Chicago, which is always weird to me. But if you do have an insight on where this win will go, of course, things change, weather people aren't even good at their jobs anyway. But ultimately, over a almost $2 favorite on the road with some potential issues keeping the ball in the park if the ball is flying out. Eloy Jimenez came back. That seemed to change the White Sox lineup and maybe explained their sweep this weekend of the Tampa Bay Rays. I think I leaned over with you, and that's mainly based on Chris Flexen not being able to get outs. Minnesota's also
Called guaranteed rate now.
guaranteed rate.
With
Yes,
Field. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. For all the mortgages that America cannot afford.
The big mortgage.
Yes, we'll move next to Kansas City visiting Toronto. We got Seth Lugo, who I just saw live in Detroit, at Toronto, and Chris Bassett. Have you've been to all the stadiums? What do you think about Comerica Park, by the way, before we get to the line of this one?
The White Sox one? Guaranteed rate?
Comerica, the
Oh,
Detroit.
Comerica, right? Not
Yes,
Comiskey. Comerica, Detroit. Yeah, I like it was like really below street level. So you walk right in like to the main concourse. It was really built into the ground. I thought that was a cool part of it.
I love that. I had seen it. I've been there once before. I was not very happy about probably the best play I've ever seen live. Home run robbed in right field, and then a double play was actually called, or threw the guy out at first. Would have been a 2-run home run that probably would have been enough for the Tigers to win, and I would have had a lot more money to spend at the NFL draft. Regardless, we'll go to this line now. Seth Lugo, who's pitching that game, he was. I don't know if I'd call him dominant. He was pretty good. I don't. He's been living off of on borrowed time with a lot of double plays so far this year. But he does get a Toronto offense that I think is extremely overrated based on names and really players' names of fathers' names rather than Bo Bichette's been in and out of the lineup lately. Vladdy looks thin. I think he's in a contract year, so that probably explains a little bit of his diet, but we'll see how long that lasts with the spreads on planes and really just Major League Baseball. Oh,
Yeah,
Elio, so the
I
RBI.
agree. I think Lugo's due for some regression. I think that the Blue Jays are not very good. In fact, that yeah, they're guys based on their dad's last names are not hitting very well right now. Vladdy's doing okay, but Bichette's not. And the Blue Jays have pretty much by far the worst expected pitching stats for the entire year, all the way around. I'll lean over in this game.
Okay. Oh, so we got 8.5 as the total. Spread is minus 134 on the Jays. Chris Batt's been really good at home. That's kind of his knock, I guess, if you will, that he's bad on the road. I can't really explain it, though. He has pitched in some very good home ballparks like Oakland, where he was awesome and I think really built his career. But has been really good in Toronto as well. I don't see a lot of runs actually scored in this game. I mean, Seth Lugo, like I said, is bound to have a big problem, blow up sometime soon. Hasn't happened yet. I just don't know that Toronto on getaway day is the team to do it to him. So I'll go under 8.5, which I guess
KC's had a sneaky offense this year too, though. Bobby Witt's really hitting the ball. Sal Perez seems to be healthy and hitting the ball good. Pascantino's been making some noise a little bit lately. At least 2 weeks ago, he was.
Oh yeah, that one game where he had 5 RBIs and you were shouting his name from the rooftops.
He reached base every day for 2 weeks, and now he's been 0 for the last whatever. I saw you hit a double off the wall earlier today, but yeah.
Well, I also saw that he's available in our fantasy league or one of them. So if you
again.
want to go pick him back up, I think Kim Jong Fletch is.
I went Nate Lowe instead. Nate Lowe. Adding third
Ah.
for the Rangers. I feel like that's a pretty good spot.
Yeah, he prefers Nathaniel, but whatever. I guess who's counting? I guess we did miss him because he's on the IL when we went to that game a couple of weeks ago and recorded maybe the drunkest podcast in history. The Yankees then visit Baltimore. I'm wearing my Orioles short. Anyway, we got Luis Heel on the road at Corbin Burns. This is basically what the Orioles tried to build their team around. This guy throws a lot of cutters at the 95-mile-an-hour range. Corbin Burns, a minus 155 favorite. Wow. Total is 8.5, juice a little bit to under. That is a gigantic number for the Orioles, who are usually underdogs at home to the Yankees. Were tonight, have taken the first 2 games of this series. What do you think about Luis Heel? I mean, he's certainly got the strikeouts ability. I don't know if he has much else.
Yeah, he's in the bottom 3% of walk rate, so he's kind of throwing it all over. Maybe call it effectively wild. I'm still going to go Yankees here. I'm going to go Yankees first 5.
Okay.
I think Heel is being underpriced. The bullpens are just always kind of a crapshoot all the way around. It might, depend on what happens tonight or what did happen tonight. I'll look in to see what the arms look like back there. But my notes here say Yankees first five. I agree with you. The price is weird. I mean, I know the Orioles won tonight, but the Yankees are just as good of a team, I think. And I'll ride the hot hand with Heel as he goes to be effectively wild again.
Okay, so Orioles tonight. I'm really sad I didn't back them, but didn't expect them to have their good bullpen available. Looks like Keegan Aiken and Jacob Webb worked, so that pretty much means Orioles
Right.
should be good to go for a Wednesday matinee, or actually this is a night game because I think they're playing Thursday getaway day game there, 4-game series. But my interest here is the Yankees as well. I think it's too big of a price just based on, I mean, literally last year the Orioles won the division and were underdogs every time they hosted the Yankees, I think. So to me, there's just too big of a change. Yes, the Orioles have won the first two games of the series. Honestly, we're outplayed on Monday, but that didn't matter because they scored a run the first batter of the game offensively for the Orioles, and then held on for dear life. Don't love the Yankees. Still looking to bet against them as much as possible, and are terrified of Luis Heel, but the price is too good. Moving next to Cleveland at Houston, we got Tristan McKenzie at Justin Verlander. Astros 9-9 entering tonight's game and had a 3-0 deficit, 8-3 lead, still tied at 8. Moving on to the eighth inning, we got Tristan McKenzie at plus 151 road underdogs. So Verlander minus 165 at home, totals 8.5, juice more to the under than to the over. Do you think that Justin Verlander can bail this Astros team out? Because they have been really struggling.
They have been. I don't know if it's going to be him or him all by himself. They have the horses on that team. Like, I think they'll be okay. If there was a time to buy the Astros, I think it might be now, although Vegas doesn't seem to be pricing the Astros like a bad team or even a mediocre team. They're favored tomorrow quite a bit with Verlander, who's had 2 starts and looked pretty good. He's 40 years old yet, 39, 40 years old. He's his fastball velocity is down to like 94, but he's still painting corners and he's not really walking dudes. And I mean, he's gonna age okay. But
41 years old. Kate
41. All right.
Kate Upton 31, and I think was in his box drinking beers at 20 way back when.
Yeah. This game's going on right now. It's going to be exciting all the way down to the end. Maybe it's a playoff preview. You never know, but
Ooh.
We'll see. There's been, I think I might have mentioned this last podcast, but only 4 teams in the last 20 years have started with the record the Astros started with and made the playoffs. And I know the playoffs are bigger now than they have been in the last 20 years, mostly, but that's a big reason. I think they'll bounce back, and I think they'll bounce back in this game. McKenzie is not. He's been a guy who's been kind of flirting with being good or very good, and kind of not quite getting there. I think that Verlander is on the right side of being good, so I'll take the Astros. I'm probably not going to bet this game because they're so heavily favored, but I'll lean that way, I guess.
Yeah, I feel you. Tristan McKenzie definitely on the list of guys that are going to dominate at some point in their career until
Yeah.
their career ends, because they've actually never dominated. Can't stay healthy. When he is healthy, he's great, but ultimately, I feel like it's just taken too long for me to believe it's going to happen. So I like the Guardians. I am so impressed by how they play baseball better than anybody else. I feel like they've taken the spot of the Tampa Bay Rays now that Wander Franco's suspended and probably never playing baseball again in America, or the United States of America, put it that way. I don't really know what to do this one. I'll go over 8.5. I mean, there's good bullpens here, potentially good starters, but man, I just feel like it's hard to back Tristan McKenzie. I think the blow up is very possible, and minus 165 makes me even more nauseous than the Colorado Rockies bullpen. Moving to a lot of interleague games that are most in the afternoon. We got Tampa Bay and Zach Eflin on the road at Milwaukee and Colin Ray. Looks like Eflin a minus 118 road favorite here. Milwaukee 8.5 total, very juiced under. But Tampa Bay favored in Milwaukee after getting swept in the south side of Chicago. What do we think about Tampa? Because I think there's a macro question that deserves to be asked. I've been pretty negative about Tampa Bay so far this season. Certainly doesn't look great after they get swept by the White Sox, but that happens, things like that on the road. Do you think that the Rays, I guess, what do you think about the Rays so far?
Yeah, they've underachieved. I thought they would be better than this. I don't know when coaching or managing or development can really take a hold kind of mid-season. I mean, Josh Lowe, I know, has struggled to get back. He was out with an oblique and now he's out with a hamstring. So it might be a little while till they get him back. But he's a 25-25 guy. I think they still mostly platoon him against righties because he's a left-handed bat. So like the Rays are always going to do funky things like that. Losing Franco was probably a bigger deal than we kind of really give credit for. I mean, I don't know if he was a leader in the clubhouse or anything like that, but he was certainly a burgeoning star, switch hitter, shortstop. I mean, cornerstone franchise guy. He's just gone forever now. All of a sudden. So that's got to be tough for the team. It's got to be tough for management. It's got to be tough for everybody, knowing that whatever was happening kind of right under their nose. So maybe they're rethinking some things, maybe shaking things up. I don't know. They're still seemingly not quite over it, but I believe in the Rays long term. I mean, they've been like this hugely small market team. I mean, I'm not even talking small. Wander Franco is the first person they've ever paid, and he betrayed them. So they don't really do things like that. Maybe they'll just never do it again. But they always compete. They've been in a couple World Series. I mean, it's been a long time now, a good track record with the whole organization. So I believe in that culture long term. I think Wander Franco is a very unfortunate circumstance they've had to deal with. Maybe a bigger deal than we've thought before. So macro, I like the Rays okay. I like Eflin too in this game. He's one of the guys kind of preseason I was looking at having a pretty good year. Colin Ray has not really been that impressive. The Brewers as a whole, their pitching staff, I mean, Peralta, Freddie dealt tonight. But Colin Ray is not nearly the same. I would lean Tampa in this one. And you said it's priced pretty evenly.
Yeah, we got Tampa minus 118, so they are a
Yeah,
favorite, but not a gigantic one.
I have a lot of road teams circled here, and I don't know. I know you don't like that very much, and I don't either. But I'll take the Rays.
It's fine. It happens to the best of us, the worst of us, all that sort of things. I think Milwaukee is the side I want here. I don't know that I trust Colin Ray. I mean, he's a pitch to contact, try to survive type of guy, and that's not what I like in 2024. I think to your point, the Rays gave Wander Franco $182 million, apparently. Yikes. For a team that maybe paid Blake Snell, maybe, but I know they ended up trading him anyway. Thought that they tried to basically trade him even with a contract in hand. But regardless, they haven't spent a lot. They got to figure out where they're spending money. And I think this is going to be a lean year for them. So I'm looking to be against the Rays as much as possible. I think their bullpen is always going to be a strength. That's very low budget, low cost type of spot. But I'm just not sure that I really believe in it. And a road favorite, I think, is enough for me to back a usually pretty big Milwaukee crowd.
Yeah, Fairbanks is out with a nerve injury for a while, so Jason Adams filled in as the closer, and he's pretty good. But that does weaken their depth in the bullpen for sure. And then hopefully they call up Junior Caminero, and he's the next Wander. They've called him up for the postseason last year at 19 years old, I think, but he started the year in the minors. He's been crushing it down there. I think he had an oblique to start, but he's back on the field and should be called up any day now, or at least this month.
Yeah, well, the Rays, they are the master manipulators of service time. So I would expect that to continue as much as possible. Moving next to St. Louis at Detroit after a doubleheader today. Miles Michaelis starts at Kenta Maeda, currently a minus 105 split juice both ways. At Bet Online, over under here is 8.5. If you're not a member at Bet Online or Sportsbetting.ag, follow the links in the podcast descriptions on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify, and you get some free money at those casinos. Sportsbetting.ag and Bet Online are partners, sister sites, and are partners with this show. So what do we think about Kenta Maeda, who has been good in one start, horrible in other starts, but he gets a St. Louis team that's not really hitting?
Maeda in 30 at-bats against Arenado is holding him to a 339 OPS. Against Goldschmidt in 31 at-bats, he's holding him to a 563 OPS. And against Brandon Crawford in 17 at-bats, he's holding him to a 535 OPS. So that's actually a big sample size with their big three, like 2, 3, 4 hitters.
What about the good hitters on the Cardinals?
Yeah, the good hitters on the Cardinals. He's like kind of had the best of them over the years. So I'll take Maeda at home and the Tigers.
So my concern is that Maeda is not the same one. Maybe he's figured out. It seems like velocity's gone. Always had arm troubles, and maybe that's finally what's happened here. The problem is I just don't really like Miles Michaelis whatsoever. Yes, he'll have some miraculous 8 innings, 2 earned run type of starts, but I don't know who's predicting that or has any idea when they're coming. Give me over 8.5, despite two offenses I really don't like. Moving next to Pittsburgh visiting Oakland, we got Quinn Priester at Russ Stripling. Currently, Priester and the Pirates, a minus 111 favorite on the road. Total is 8. She's pretty heavily to under here. I mean, wow, the Pirates
Yeah.
favored the entire series at Oakland with bad pitchers on the mound. What has come of this world?
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates started 7-0 or 9-0, and now they're reeling, and the A's are kind of surging. I think they have roughly the same records now. So yeah, the Pirates are going to Pirates, I guess. I like their team more in general. You know, the A's aren't even trying to win. It's pretty obvious there, but um, I don't have a huge feeling for this game. Ross Stripling is due to be better than he showed. He's 0-5 right now. He's actually pitched better than that. The A's as a whole have pitched better than that. I'll lean Athletics if you're going to give me. I mean, yeah, against the Pirates, they're just not that good. I thought they might be, but they're not.
I don't think they're good either. I think they're competitive, but I honestly watch them at the Mets just make some really, really awful, just like rookie baseball type mistakes. I think Stripling has shown it in the past. He's certainly got a good arm, got good stuff. I'll take plus 101 as well. Home underdogs. Atlanta visits Seattle, the last game of a series out as far from Atlanta as you could possibly get. Maybe Miami, I guess, potentially a longer trip to Seattle. But Chris Sale visit Emerson Hancock, who's a pretty big prospect for the Mariners, who has not looked like he is major league ready in any of his time at the major league level, in my humble opinion. But currently, Hancock a plus 157 underdog at home. Total is 7.5. Juices split both ways, so probably sticks around there, pending lineups and such on getaway day, which you never know if an Acuna sits or something like that. Chris Sale, I'm not sure that he's ever going to be the same pitcher, but he's certainly serviceable at this point in his career. You got any interest in backing those homestanding Mariners that sometimes get some wins at though?
Yeah, so Hancock's kind of a control guy. He doesn't have the greatest stuff in the world, which scares me. I mean, it's just when he's young and he hasn't quite figured it out, and who knows? I mean, 7.5 seems low. I'm guessing Vegas really likes Chris Sale, and honestly, I do too. He's of course finally rounded the corner. Hopefully, he doesn't fall off his bike this year. Um, his slider is a 99th percentile pitch. It's very extremely effective. He's also lost a couple ticks on the fastball, like Verlander has. But these guys know how to pitch. They know how to win. I like their mindset. I think that the Braves might win the game. 7.5 does seem low, though.
I'll go
I
over there
wanted the
too.
under, but that's low.
I'll go over. I
Um,
mean, 7.5 is
yeah,
about what you should expect though in Seattle. I'm not sure we're seeing many eights unless the pitching matchups are bad. That might be a direct reaction to how poor the Mariners lineup is and how much they strike out. I mean, this is not
yeah.
really a strikeout prop show, but certainly maybe worth looking at. Chris Sale's strikeout over, though I imagine it's pretty high. I just think Atlanta could maybe get 8 themselves against Emerson Hancock, so I'll go over 7.5 in that matchup. Moving next to Philadelphia at the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim against Zach Wheeler at Patrick Sandoval. Wheeler minus 165 favorite on the road. Over under is 8. Juice very heavily to under, and it looks like some bets are coming in on under right now. I think that's more backing Wheeler than it is Sandoval, but Sandoval's been able to keep some hitters off balance in his career. Do you think he does that on Wednesday afternoon?
No. I'll just answer the question right off. Zach Wheeler's got an extremely good fastball, 99th percentile in fastball effectiveness, and Patrick Sandoval is in the 19th percentile. You talk about guys with good fastballs, and you're talking about opposite players here. The Phillies are better. I mean, how did we make that bet? Mike Trout or the field? Because he is unfortunately out for a while with a meniscus surgery as of today. So I'm glad I took the field in that bet you proposed to me last
Yes.
last
Yeah.
podcast. I don't think you were on the
Yes.
other side. It was just hypothetical, but I'll let it be known I was on the right side of that one. He did get hurt already. Unfortunate for that. 32 years old. The guy just can't stay on the field anymore. I wonder how long he's got left. Rendon is not the answer. Shohei's gone. The Angels aren't good. And now they're probably dead.
Yeah,
That's what's
Angels also
happening, I
trying to
guess.
throw more fastballs in a league where everyone else is trying to throw breaking balls. You already mentioned Sandoval's got a bad one, lives on
Yeah.
changeups, which to me is just never a good way to succeed in Major League Baseball. Moving next to San Francisco at Boston, we got no starter for San Francisco right now. Cutter Crawford for the Red Sox. I know that at A Brooks Bets is a Red Sox fan and follows the team religiously, closer than anything. What do you got about Cutter Crawford, the Red Sox? Just I guess if you want to, we only have 7 minutes left in the podcast, so don't take the whole time. But what do you think about the Red Sox while we don't have a starter for San Francisco named?
Well, I mean, the pitching's been great. The infield defense is terrible. They lost Story and they lost O'Neill for a little bit and the injuries, and they lost Casas for a while. And I don't know. They've been treading water. I mean, they've been doing all right for a team that didn't spend anything in the offseason, or at least go after the people that all the fans wanted them to go after. They've been doing all right. They've been hanging in there. I don't think they'll keep pace with the Orioles or the Yankees as we round into May and June and July, but here we are, and we still have a chance. So that's good. May 1st is here, and we still have a chance in the division and to make the playoffs. The pitching's been great. Cutter's awesome. I like what I've seen out of him. The stats, like with he's got a less than 1 ERA, I do believe. I'm gonna back the Sox at home here. I know that there's a TBD for the Giants. I imagine it's a bullpen game, maybe. I wish it was Blake Snell, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'll take Cutter Crawford at home.
He's with Mike Trout on the IL.
Yeah.
Last game that we'll go through, and then we'll get to best bets, which I know everyone has been hanging on bated breath waiting for. We got the Washington Nationals and Trevor Williams on the road at Texas, visiting Andrew Heaney. We got -158 Andrew Heaney at home. Wow, and the total is 9.
Washington and Texas. Andrew Heaney's not pitched very well, and the Nationals actually lit him up last time. They don't have very many plate appearances against him, but in the matchup data, they've got like 4 or 5 guys who's got home runs against him, I think. So, whoever he pitched, I like the Nationals. I got the Nationals circled in this one. I don't bet against the Rangers very often, but I think this might be a spot. What did you say the number was? Hopefully, it's pretty good.
Heaney -158, so you got 145 coming back on Trevor
Yeah.
Williams.
I'll take that. I lean Nats in this one.
Yeah, I like over and road team as well. Go ahead.
I also just saw Adolis Garcia got pegged in the hand by a pitch. So even if it's not broken or anything, that does usually require a day or two for the swelling to go down. Maybe we don't get his beast of a self in the lineup.
Yeah, that beach body. I mean, it seems like Nathaniel Lowe hitting third is not really how you want to do it. I feel like the Rangers have been monitoring or at least managing the minutes, as they'd call it in basketball, but the innings or games for Corey Seager. I'm just not really a believer in what I've seen from the Rangers so far. It seems like the World Series hangover is real, and they're just treading water until their starters come back to throw the baseball. And Heaney's in this rotation because of injury, not for any other reason. He's been horrible. So I like the Nationals and the over.
Scherzer is coming back soon, but his rehab start was delayed because of a thumb injury, I believe, or something. So he might be a couple more, or maybe next week. But they would like Scherzer back for sure.
Yeah, I think everyone would at this point. Before we get to best bets, thank you, of course, for all your support. Can't stop shouting out everyone who comes and supports the podcast. Whether you're on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, please leave a 5-star review. It's huge for the search rankings. The YouTube people, appreciate you subscribing as well. Selling Ninja Motivation, Change Pa, and then Jim Pine as well. Thank you for your nice mentions and comments about our podcast. I haven't seen anything specific to our Major League Baseball podcast that I kind of at A Brooks Bets read. But I think it's probably time to get into our ultimate or our end of show best bets.
I've got one little segue.
Okay,
we got 3 minutes
go ahead.
left. So
segue.
The Kentucky Derby is this weekend.
It is.
I don't bet on just baseball. I bet on a lot of different things. This weekend, I like the Wood Memorial winner, Resilience. He drew the 19th post position, which is not great, but actually the outside's better than being pinned in the inside. So I'll take Resilience, winner of the Wood Memorial. His speed figures have gone up in his last 4 starts consecutively. Hopefully this horse is peaking. He's got now 2 on the outside of him. He'll be in the 18th spot because one horse withdrew from inside him, so they move him down 1. But Resilience is my horse. And I played golf with a guy this week, Steve Barry. Shout out, Steve. He's a Saratoga horse guy. He said that, wait, now I got to look it up. I forgot what his bet was. I told him I'd show it. He had a hole in one this weekend.
Wow. Okay.
Playing golf. Yeah, on the par 3, 160 yards with an 8 iron. I saw it.
Nice. No wonder you were so
Forever young.
excited.
His horse is forever young. So shout out, Steve. There's your hole-in-one present.
There it is. All right, give us your best bet.
My best bet is going to be Chicago. Chicago and Shota Imanaga. I'm taking them to beat the Mets tomorrow. I really like the fastball. And I think Buto is not, yeah, he's probably got some flashes, but he's not a consistent guy that I would want to bet on necessarily. And when I don't want to bet on him, I can probably bet against him. So I'm going to take Imanaga. I think he's transitioned to America really well. Give me the Cubbies.
Okay, it looks like the Cubs are a current minus 119. So this is the ultimate best bet, the best bet of the Major League Baseball podcast at Betting the Pitch Podcast Network. You just heard at A Brooks Bets, he gave you a special Kentucky Derby winner, Resilience. Also, he gave you Shota Imanaga and the Chicago Cubs, a minus 119 favorite at the New York Mets for his best bet. He's 3-2 on the season. I am like half a game back. I need to catch up. So I'm going to go for my best bet. If you're not following me yet, make sure you do that at patreon.com/the_real_G Warner. Best spot to get all my plays, leans, write-ups, and everything. I'm going to go with those Oakland Athletics day game. So early start, Russ Stripling at plus 101, slight underdog, but I love getting more money than I'm risking on the home team against the Pittsburgh team that hasn't really impressed. So grab at A Brooks Bets, Resilience in the Kentucky Derby, plus the Cubs minus 116. And my best bet at the_Real_G Warner, Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube, the Oakland Athletics plus 101. That'll do it for this episode of Betting the Pitch Major League Baseball edition. We'll see you all next week on Tuesday night's episode, getting you ready for the Wednesday card. And have a great weekend and good luck with your bets.